Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Tectonic here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day as always. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to manipulate, read, and understand spawns. There's plenty of players that struggle with this, from the rank to the pro players. It's not something that could easily be understood. But in today's video, I'm hoping that I could break it down where everyone that watches this has an understanding of briefly how spawns work. Warning, this applies to most maps, not all. Some have some weird ass fucking spawns. But without further ado, class is in session. Alright, so starting off with rule number 1, and this is kind of something that's helped me over time and understand, how to read spawns. The way that I see it is spawns are always going to happen on the opposite side of your teammates, right? So I recommend putting this on. If you guys don't have it on, it's the little teammate view. Here's how. Go into your settings, you go to basic, and right here at the top right side, perspective teammate, you want to turn that on. That allows you to see your teammates through walls. Because if you see your teammates spawning on the other side of the map from you, you have to understand you are either going to be doing the fucking or getting fucked. So if they're spawning here, I know the enemy spawn on the other side, right? That's always going to be a rule of thumbs that's not going to change, which is good for CODM if you want to know how to position yourself properly, right? So this guy just spawned behind me, so I need to be looking over on this side now.
Enemy shock RC is coming.
Yeah, let's see how there's people trying to fight us there.
Too close. Fight harder. Hardpoint locked.
So
identified.
spawns don't flip until the hill pops, or until like this hill is over, right? So once P1 ended, this hill immediately goes into effect, even though there's that cooldown.
Our UAV has been destroyed.
So my teammates are still spawning out, so the enemy is going to be spawning over here to the left, right?
It's up to
I got fried.
spotted.
Sometimes you have the weirdos who like to push through mid, which is, just weirdos being weirdos. P3 could be a little bit weird, especially on this map of Shoot House. You have to understand spawns. Right, so we're spawning here, and if you look at your map, a lot of the times, I don't know if you can see it, they'll spawn on this upper left side. So with Kevin spawning there now, and me just being up here by myself, they're spawning kind of in this P4 area. So if we're spawning on this side of the map, they'll always spawn in this left corner.
Let's go this way.
And I know that just from knowing where my teammates are, You don't have to overcomplicate the game. The way that spawns work is there's basically group spawning. And group spawning is probably one of the worst spawns in my opinion, but it is what it is, So this is the P4. Let me kill this guy here. I'm pushing. So this is the P4, right? Watch where my team spawn. If you know the spawns for this, if we're gonna be spawning down here, basically up here at this top right section, they'll always spawn over on this, let's say bottom left to this bottom right. Usually where the spawn point initially opens up and where you spawn at from the jump. I like to see the game for spawns as a triangle. I know that might sound a little weird, but if you look at the map, right, we have a spawn point here, here, and at the bottom. It's all winky wonky, but along that section, if you make a triangle from most spawn points, I promise you it'll most likely line up. But now we're spawning out. They have the spawns for that hill.
Standing by.
So we broke the spawn, so then now they're spawning out.
Hardpoint is ours.
Why am I being focused so hard? Yo, you're horrible! So this is kind of a reset. The reset is always going to be, this side of the map, the other side of the map. It's not more complex than that. If we spawn here, they spawn over there. Probably the easiest spawn to understand. And this motto applies to most maps. Your default spawn is always going to be probably where the P1 is. Alright, with that being over, we're going to go into rule number 2. Rule number 2 plays a big part in understanding, manipulating, hell, even positioning yourself for any sort of spawn that is to come. And that is to simply just pay attention to your map. I know it might sound a little stupid and like, oh, well, no shit, Tech. You're like, anyone should know how to do that. Yeah, anyone should know how to do that, but there's a reason why people are watching this video. So one thing that I have a very bad habit of doing is I'm always quick glancing at my spawn. So tip number 1 was kind of the basic version of tip number 2. Because before there was all this perspective teammate bullshit, there was just quick map glances. So after like every kill or every time I fire, you know, I'm just quickly looking at my map. It kind of shows where enemies are spawning, and at the same time shows where my teammates are spawning. You know, it's not always the easiest thing to learn, like when your teammates are behind you, because no one could tell whenever they're spawning behind you whenever you're just locked into the game. But doing a little quick glance could help you, unless you're these kids and you're popping counter UAVs. Now number 2 isn't so much as necessary as tip number 3, but it is pretty valuable if you get in a good habit of doing it. And if you really want to go into depth on learning spawns, you don't have to necessarily do it in rank. One of the easiest ways that I've kind of taught myself to learn spawns is through pubs, believe it or not. And, you know, a lot of VODing as well, because there's a lot of times where spawns could be super wonky and shit just happens. But that's like more detailed like stuff that a lot of people won't even notice. So if you just pop a UAV, just pay attention to where people are coming from. So ideally on a map like Firing Range P2, you'll have spawns kind of here at this back camo section, so this backwood section, and then this A long, especially with your team stacked up on hill. So this guy's fucking up the spawns. You see, like Willie, he just died. So now they're spawning at the bottom. Willie takes the wood spawn. And what I was talking about earlier is you have to see spawns as a triangle. So if you look at backwood to A long to back firing range, it kind of makes a triangle. And it will also transition like that to like a P3. So for example, if you look at trailer, which is about to happen, we'll, you know, get another UAV. So for a map like Firing Range, for even P3, like if we're looking at like the triangle spawn, it kind of works like this, where you'll have the backwood, the bathroom, and then this P2 section, right, which is the last spawn.
Objective almost complete. Keep it up.
You're able to make that triangle once again. And those are like the 3 core spawns. So wherever, if you go back to step 1, when your teammate spawns out over here, rule of thumbs, you could kind of expect them to be spawning out in this wood area, this bathroom area. And that's never going to change. And this kind of helps teach you and understand like spawn points. And if you know the spawn points, you can understand like, okay, if I'm spawning wood, they're spawning American. But let's say, for example, this one, right? If I'm spawning bathroom, but they're in the hill, then I could kind of indicate there, oh, they're probably spawning American. But that's for a P4 hill, but that's more advanced. You know, not a lot of times that'll happen. Like you'll have that lucky break spawn, but there is times where it does happen and you have to immediately notice that. But this is just the basics, the minimum to understanding the spawn. I hope this does help. I know it's very vague and I know it's very basic, but it's like the little bit of knowledge that I kind of built my fundamentals on. The reason I'm able to do it to the ability that I can is because I've kind of used this technique for so long. Over time, you're going to get used to the spawns and understanding where it goes. And once you know where those spawn points are, you'll be able to position yourself better for the next gunfight. That is going to be it for this video. I hope it was somewhat helpful for you guys. If not, I am sorry, but this is like the knowledge that I know. I wish I could show it more visually. But someone who really can is Coach Zim. If you guys do not know him, make sure to check him out on YouTube. I think he might post VODs with more in-depth descriptions of pro gameplay, by the way. But we're going to be signing off there. I love you guys. As always, see you in the next one.